Ladies and gentlemen, I think I figured it out. Trump is a spy for a foreign government. What the? Okay, so this had to do with. I am not comfortable in this shirt at all. So yeah, I wore this shirt because it has a 4-leaf clover on it, and 4chan, haha, 4chan, Trump, Pepe. Yeah, you know. If you know, you know. My name is Ramirez, FrogBear.zil. Today's topic is going to be Trump is a spy. So, I know I said I wasn't going to make another video that quickly, but I just went to Telegram, just scrolled down and watch a Fox News segment, and they're just like, yeah, the FBI said that Trump is a foreign spy. And I was just like, we're back here again? Like, how did this all happen? But yeah, there is also the theory that I've heard that this is just to set one of the first stepping stones in the process of preventing him from being able to run for 2024. But I don't know who believes what on that. So the thing I wanted to talk about with Trump being a spy is knowing the general Mike Flynn, knowing his case and knowing how he got fired from his position at the NSA was something similar. Essentially, General Michael Flynn got invited to a dinner where there was a bunch of Russian oligarchs, like a bunch of Russian foreign assets and all this other stuff, right? General Mike Flynn is allowed to leave at the behest of the Department of Defense. There's this whole process that you have to go through in order for you to get approved into any foreign meeting. Like, if you're in the presence of any foreign dignitaries, or if you're in the presence of anyone that could be a potential threat to foreign, to national security, anything that relates to national security has to go through some vetting process, either at the Pentagon or Homeland Security. Even if it's a general, even if it's like a lieutenant, like there is some level of forethought that goes into what are the possible things that could happen. So one of the things that was levied against General Michael Flynn was that because he went to this dinner where there was a bunch of Russians, that he basically compromised this and that, and they had used a phone call. But when all the records were actually released, they realized that the FBI agents that were in charge of that phone call paraphrased his phone call in such a way to make it seem that he had said something that he shouldn't have, getting him fired and this and that. There's a whole... And that's just the General Michael Flynn story. There's a reason why I'm going fast through it. I know anybody could take that out of context and be like, you're stupid, you don't know what you're talking about. And I'm like, well, whatever. Because what I wanted to talk about was more of the thing that was used against him, which was it's like some pre-context thing that says that you have to register yourself as like, if you're lobbying or if you've taken money from a foreign government, you need to file for some sort of it's basically you saying to the government, like, hey, this foreign government gave me this much money. I want you to know that I've taken this money and that I am going to advocate for whatever this thing is, right? And the reason why that's important is because that's one of the main contention points that they had used against General Michael Flynn. But the big problem here is Podesta didn't fill one of those out for when he took money from foreign governments. He didn't take one of those out. His brother didn't take one of those out. John Kerry, to a large degree, didn't take one of those out. And the reason why this all matters is because this is the previous administration staff. A lot of them took a lot of foreign money and never filled any of this paperwork out. So there was this double standard that we saw there. So with them claiming Trump as a foreign spy, after him being the president, like, yeah, we're going back to Russiagate and all this other bullshit, but it's just so funny to me, um, to see all of this repeat, and still everybody is still left without context of understanding that, I think it's called FARA, foreign, foreign something. Either way, I think that's what it's called. FARA, FARA, is what you have to fill out in order for you to work on the behalf of a foreign government, stateside, and at the same time being a U.S. official. The reason why that matters is because you could work a government job, take money from foreign assets, but still maintain that government job because there's a sense of disclosure that you're doing there. But either way, I think another person that didn't fill one of these out was George Nader and Sarah Pruska. Sarah, can't even remember some of these names. And it gets even worse, right? Because if you look at the whole how RussiaGate was established, a lot of the, like, many of the connections that were made through there weren't even foreign assets. Like, let alone, like, they all worked for the FBI. Um, it's like, so let me guess, you're gonna try to claim that Trump is a foreign asset, worked on the behalf of a foreign government, but all of the proof that you'll have are people that work within the FBI and are people who work as an informant on the behalf of the FBI? Fucking hilarious. I can't remember. There was another one. The reason why I want to remember this is because he was working at a university on the behalf of the FBI, recruiting for more agents for the FBI in Italy, I think. And like, he even took money in commission for making that report against Trump and all this other shit. And I'm like, bruh. And here we are again with him getting raided. But I know there's more to the Mar-a-Lago raid. There's the fact that there was a discrepancy between who was supposed to do the search. From what I heard, it wasn't even the FBI who first entered the building. It was the Secret Service that made the entrance to the building, then allowing the FBI in, which isn't how it's supposed to be done. And by the FBI, by what I mean by letting the FBI in is, the FBI is the one that conducted the search. It wasn't the Secret Service. And there's the discrepancy of who allowed the search warrant, and how the fact that the person who allowed that search warrant was a donator to the Obama administration and was somebody who had some ties to Epstein. You get into very political moves. And I always bring it up to people like, okay, so I've been a part of the political discussion from the very beginning, and I've paid attention to how the goalpost has shifted. So I will say a lot of things out of context, and people will be like, "What? What are you saying?" And it's because a lot of this rhetoric was used at one point in time, and it's important to remember the sort of implications that this rhetoric would imply. So Zion Dawn, I always love this one because it predicated the fact that Trump was pulling all of the strings and that he was just one of the many strings in this really big giant conspiracy. And I'm just like, you're fucking. But then again, right? You have to allow them to be oblivious. In this sense, Mr. Zion Dawn, right? Mr. Zion Dawn is essentially setting him. No, I'm joking. The Mar-a-Lago raid. Yeah, him getting raided. What purpose does that serve? Like, realistically, I've heard of that theory that says that, oh, he set this up in order for him to go to court and in order for him to be able to insert evidence to then go into the docket. And I'm like, what? It's the John Durham strategy that people are claiming, but I'm not entirely too sure. I just know that it does set a very dangerous precedent, especially with the fact that we're watching a new ecclesiastical class of. So did anyone ever watch the movie Repo Men? The guys who work on the behalf of a company that does loans and rents out organs in order for people to live. It reminds me of that. The new IRS agent is going to be a repo man. He's essentially just gonna bust down your door, take one of your organs out, and be like, "Sorry, mate, you didn't pay the monthly bill." It's so fucked up, but that's what it feels like. This is what this feels like. We're encroaching on, is the sense that they really do not want to leave any portion of people, what do I say, out of the loop. I don't know. It's a very systematic. It's a very systematic action that is done that only really benefits one side of the aisle. These actions, what this looks like it's gearing towards, what agenda it's achieving. The more you kind of look into this, the more you realize that it only really benefits one side of the aisle. It only really benefits one side of the paradigm. Not the black and white checkerboard of black, white, tiny hat, not tiny hat, Christian, devil, this or that, right? Whatever black and white checkerboard piece that people put in their head, it has nothing to do with that. But it has more to do with, on the surface level, implications. In this sense, is preventing this person from running for the 2024 election because they know nothing will stop him. Nothing. As it is now, we've already seen that there have been a variety of different counties who have actually put pressure on the voting systems that they have in their districts. Not even that. We're seeing a lot of districts also overturn in ideological sense. It is no longer about the right-left paradigm. It's no longer about the checkerboard. It's about having meaningful impact towards a future, right? And you're having a new sense of, right? Like when Trump endorsed Dr. Oz, it was only the people that were dumb to their hindsight that were like, "Oh man, look at your guy, man. Your guy's a big fucking idiot for sponsoring that," without realizing the double-edged nature to what he did there. It was to prove, can you pass the litmus test? Can you pass the step? Can you pass whatever you're looking in front of you? It's like, oh, but he operates at warp speed, and it's just like, think of the implications of what you're saying. Fully draw out a conclusion with what these things are. And I don't know. Looking at it from that angle, and looking at it from a strategical point of view of preventing, of having actions, recourses, effects, causing blockages. There's a variety of different moves that could be played in this chessboard because it's real life. It isn't a video game that has predetermined parameters. The parameters here are infinite because they're infinite to the degree of how well you know the actors. They're only infinite if you don't know the actors, if you don't know their abilities, if you don't know what kind of moves they can make, if you don't know what their limits are. Yeah, to you it's infinite. To you it could be this, to you it could be that. Tiny hat this, tiny hat that, and whatever the fuck deep hydra state, blah, 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 you can create out of that infinite. But when you start naming players and you start assessing their abilities and assessing their move sets and assessing what sort of actions they could do, and go to places like 8kun where you can then find groups of people that you could discuss these sort of strategical point of views and right. It's why, dude, the first thing that really woke me up to how stupid people were was 2016, because in 2016 people were saying that, oh, Trump is going to destroy America. And I'm like, did you not listen to like government class? Did you not listen to like history class? Last I checked, there's a system of checks and balances, right? Because I had to explain to people, as long as you vote locally differently and as long as you have these variety of other people in these other checks and balances position, Trump can't do anything. His powers are actually very limited as a president. But to still have them be and be like, okay, Okay. I've realized that public education has not only failed you, but it has failed my, call it, my expectation of my American citizen. Why did I say it like that? Yo no sé. Mi nombre es José. Yo ya no hablo inglés. Yo hablo puro español now. I basically just said that. My name's Jose. I no longer speak English. I am going back to the country of my land. Yes. Yeah, my brain is still kind of thralled from the morning glow. I don't know what I'm trying to say now. All right, I should go back to Trump is a spy. Yeah, Trump is a very bad individual. We Americans need to do something about this menace. This blonde-haired menace causing destruction across the nation. But sir, he's not president anymore. Still, he is a menace. We need to stop him. I just love how like character, how much of a character Trump is. Like there is nobody else. The way I see it, like legit, there's nobody else that has done what this fool has been able to do. And I've always argued this with people. It's like I will always argue this with people is what I should say is because I don't want to make a straw man out of anyone. But it was just to see people always look at me and be like, "Oh, this would have happened this would have all happened under any other person who would have gotten the presidency." And I'm like grossly mistaken. Like, and the reason why people will always say that, "Oh no, this would have happened under X, Y, or Z reasons," or this all would have been, we would have been in the same position. It doesn't matter if Hillary would have won or anything like that. And I'm like, bro, hell no. Things would have been completely different if Hillary would have won. And then they'll say, well, that doesn't matter anymore because we've moved on. It's already been years from that. And I'm like, I like watching a lot of YouTube content that counters what I like to say. But I always listen to what they're saying and I'm like, you, like, fair. It's been years. But at the same time, I'm like, I think you're grossly misunderstanding the effects of how this played out as theater in the minds of people. And the reason why I say that is because I think people grossly misunderstand how much of a hold and control there is on the minds of the public, on the public mind, on their attention span, on what they believe, on what they hold valuable. Hollywood, not even just Hollywood, there's only one side of the aisle that understands the populace, and that's whoever has the data, whoever has the analytics, and that's essentially corporations. It's like you're telling me that anybody else in the world could have toppled this system, right? And that's just one aspect of the system. My other insult that I like to throw at people is, oh, this would have happened, right, if they say that Trump wasn't necessary in all of this to progress the way it has. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. Terramar would have just disappeared. Jeffrey Epstein would have just arrested himself. And Ghislaine Maxwell, she probably would have grown a heart 10 times the size, and she would have just been like, wow, I'm just gonna leave children alone now. Fucking how dude, I wish there was like this like super opioid that could just exist to like ding my brain, cause what are you saying? People just don't fully play out the logical scheme of what they say. And I'm just like sitting there internally screaming. Like it's that lmao meme where like his hands are up and it's just all on fire. It's just my brain. Or it's like the SpongeBob one where like he had to learn how to be like the best waiter there was. But the one thing he forgot was his name. And then when they ask him, so what's your name? Just blows up. I love that. Yeah, Trump being a spy is hilarious. This is the best. This is literally the best timeline we could have ever seen things. Just because it really goes to show like who's paying attention and who's not paying attention. And this isn't even like a school analogy. It's just, have you been paying attention to the plot of the movie? Like, or have you just been listening to the cliff notes? Like, what's going on here, guy? I love it. To see him be blamed as a spy is hilarious. Cause I know a few key actors in this whole play that I'm like, if I point to them, people will run away from a debate. Like George Nader, the fact that I'm saying his name probably already shadowed this whole fucking video. Because he is very unexplainable. He's arrested. He's in federal prison now. But yet he was somebody integral to the creation of the whole Russia hoax against Trump. But if you find out why he's in jail, it's kind of like, huh, maybe Trump was right about all these weird pedos. But it's just like, yeah. It goes back into something that I had said in my Prince video, where you can tell who's a media puppet or who's an actor for this play when they don't want to address certain difficult topics, or they'll refuse to actively engage with natural people who prop themselves up naturally and are not controlled by any one specific narrative or any one advertiser or any one sponsor. When you have those kind of people that just exist and can debate freely ideas and could destroy any other narrative that certain people have been financing. Let's use the Turks, Hassam, right now for this reason, right? Like, he has to toe a very specific line that fits to the paradigm of his employer, of whoever created his brand, his image, the princely image, right? To speak eloquently, to deliver these ideas. So I'm like, I look at the Prince and I'm like, yo, this is like swindler culture, dude. Like, this book will teach you how to be a professional YouTuber. And right, like, me talking about this information, well, that means you're using this for evil. That means you're a bad person. And I'm like, oh, please, dude. I'm way too fucking cringe for that sort of shit. Like one could say that, like, to some degree I'm creating this facade, but to the other degree I'm like, I'm fucking pretty cringe, dude. Like, I've already destroyed any sort of image that I could portray, especially with like certain things that I've released about myself and how easily I'll talk about certain things, like trauma, weird cringe stuff that will make me look like some dweeb. Like, I'm okay with that, just because it's like, that's just who I am. I'm a very weird individual. Like I said, back in high school, I was the guy that would just randomly look at you walk down the hall and be like, high five, high five. I'm just that kind of person. But what was I going with this? Oh, does that mean I'm a Russian spy? Yes, apparently yes. I am from Russia. I have my mother's name is Yushanka. Very interesting to see how these labels, these terms, and all this other bullshit has developed, and where we are now in terms of the political stage. It's very difficult to say where we're moving, what this is all going to move towards. I'm just trying to see how this will conclude, and I don't know. Like, from where I stand in terms of this stage or this theater, what I pay attention to is what's going on within the people. Their movements matter to me more, because that's the real destruction. Like, if there's anything that could really destroy this whole fucking country quickly and as fast as possible, it's people. It's not a natural disaster. It's not the dismantling of a nuclear power plant. It's not missiles. It's not this. It's not that. Fuck no. The most destructive force that could destroy an entire civilization is people. I've researched a lot of history in order to make my arguments that I'm trying to build towards. And trust me when I say this, missiles, bombs, All other forms of destruction mechanisms, whatever the fuck, pale, pale, pale in comparison to what human beings can fucking do. Pale. I'm like dead serious. Pales in comparison to what people can fucking do. Because all you need is them to be driven with full faith, with full belief, with full conviction. Like, people are the most destructive thing on this fucking earth. And this is from a historical context. Yeah, we can make arguments for the atomic bomb, this and that, but it's all people. It'll always go back to what they believe in. It'll always go back into what are their ideological foundations, and how much are they going to lean into whatever ideological foundations they have that will allow them to do what they do, and will, I don't know. About to go full on dissertation. Nah, I'm good. This video is long enough. Either way, uh, Trump is a spy for foreign governments. We need to do something. Why do I try to sound like JFK? Either way, this is Ramirez. Trump is not a foreign spy. Like, but to see how this theater will play out will be one of the most interesting things. I'm hoping, like, I'm hoping a little bit of the Johnny Depp, a little bit of Amber Heard, a little bit of the Kardashians, got a little bit of that Kanye pizzazz, you know what I'm saying? Like, this could be some pretty great theater, the way I would play it out. But, America Season 2 is just about to start. Unsure of where all this will go. Hopefully everyone has a fantastic day, fantastic Sunday. Read your Bible. I'm not going to say Bible this time, even though I just did. Research on some angels. I don't know. Read a verse or two. Hopefully everyone enjoys enjoying.